5 goals in one match without breaking a sweat. November 27, 2010. Manchester United, 7. Blackburn, 1. Dimitar Berbatov walked through that game like he was collecting groceries. While everyone else sprinted, he strolled. While they panicked, he posed. First foreigner to score 5 in a Premier League match, and he did it at his own pace. The striker who made laziness look like genius. Or was it genius disguised as laziness? Here's the truth about the most elegant footballer you've ever seen move in slow motion. Blagoevgrad, Bulgaria, 1981. Born into a family of athletes on January 30th, Father Ivan played football professionally. Mother Margarita played handball at a high level. Sport was in the blood. Young Dimitar grew up around competition, around excellence, around the idea that ordinary wasn't good enough. At school, he trained in both athletics and football. Fast, talented, but football called to him louder. At age 10, he joined Piran Blagoevgrad's famous academy, the local club, his hometown team. He learned the fundamentals there: touch, control, vision, the things that would define his career. By 17, CSKA Sofia came calling, one of Bulgaria's biggest clubs. He moved to the capital in 1998. Big step, pressure, expectations. He handled it, scored goals, won the Bulgarian Cup in 1999, got noticed. In January 2001, Bayer Leverkusen in Germany's Bundesliga signed him. 20 years old, moving to one of Europe's top leagues. The Bundesliga was physical, fast, unforgiving. Berbatov adapted. By 20, he was in Germany playing for Bayer Leverkusen. His style was already different. He didn't chase lost causes, didn't press like a madman, moved with this calm that drove some coaches insane but mesmerized others. The technical staff saw something special, a player who thought 3 moves ahead, who saw patterns before they formed. The goals came, the assists came. Leverkusen reached the Champions League final in 2002, Real Madrid at Hampden Park in Glasgow. Berbatov came on as a substitute, 21 years old, playing in a European final. Leverkusen lost 2-1. Zinedine Zidane scored one of the greatest goals in Champions League history, a left-footed volley. Berbatov watched from the pitch, but people noticed the Bulgarian. His goal against Roma in the 2004-05 Champions League became legendary. A chip from outside the box, casual, perfect, like he was practicing in training without anyone watching. Goalkeeper beaten, net rippling. Berbatov barely celebrated, just turned and jogged back. That was his way. Then came England. Tottenham paid £10 million for him in 2006. Premier League defenders had never seen anything like it. He'd receive the ball with his back to goal, and 3 defenders would surround him. Didn't matter. A touch to control, a turn, suddenly he was through. Or he'd lay it off with a back heel nobody saw coming. At Tottenham, he became something special. Martin Jol, the manager who signed him, understood immediately. This wasn't a traditional striker. This was an artist who happened to play football. Give him space, give him time, and he'd create something nobody else could see. His partnership with Robbie Keane at Spurs was poetry. 91 goals in their 2 seasons combined. 2 players who understood space, who knew when to move and when to wait. Keane would make the runs. Berbatov would find him with passes that bent physics. Or Berbatov would hold the ball, 3 defenders on him, and slip it through for Keane at the perfect moment. The 2006-2007 season, Berbatov scored 12 league goals. The next season, 15. He was selected for PFA Team of the Year in 2006-07 and 2010-11. But the stats don't capture what he brought. Tottenham played differently with him, slower, more deliberate, more dangerous. In 2008, Tottenham won the League Cup. Berbatov scored in the final against Chelsea, 2-1, first trophy for Spurs in 9 years. Jonathan Woodgate got the winner, but Berbatov's goal leveled it. Extra time, Woodgate headed it in. Berbatov lifted the trophy as one of the senior players. He delivered silverware. Then the phone calls started. Manchester United, Manchester City, both wanted him desperately. But Manchester United came calling. Sir Alex Ferguson wanted him, wanted that elegance at Old Trafford. Manchester City wanted him too. Sheikh Mansour had just bought the club. Money was no object. They offered more wages, more guarantees, a bigger role. Berbatov chose United. Why? He met Sir Bobby Charlton. That's all it took. One conversation with a legend, and his mind was made. He didn't want money, he wanted history. He wanted to play for the biggest club in England under the greatest manager. The transfer saga dragged on. Tottenham didn't want to sell. Daniel Levy fought to keep him, but Berbatov had made his decision. On deadline day 2008, the deal went through. £30.75 million. Record transfer at the time for United. His debut was against Liverpool, the biggest rivalry in English football. No goals, but you could see it. The way he moved, the way he controlled everything around him without seeming to try. The Liverpool defenders were confused. They'd close him down and he'd just roll it away. No panic, no rush, just technique. People didn't understand him at first. They expected running, expected the kind of effort that looks like effort, blood and thunder, Roy Keane-style commitment. Berbatov didn't give them that. He gave them something else, improvisation with end results. Years later, he explained his philosophy. If you have improvisation without the end result, you need to go to the circus. That was his entire approach to football. Make it beautiful, but make it count. Entertain the supporters, but win the match. He wasn't interested in skills for the sake of skills. Every trick had to serve a purpose. That's how I thought the game should be played. With great assists and goals, he said. The improvisation had to lead somewhere. Otherwise, it was just showing off. His first season, United won the Premier League. Berbatov scored 14 goals, contributed, played his part, but the critics said he didn't fit. Too slow for English football, too casual. United needed pace, needed work rate. Ferguson defended him publicly, but the questions kept coming. His second season was harder. 2009-10, he struggled for form, scored just 12 goals in all competitions. The media turned on him, said he was a luxury player United couldn't afford. Wayne Rooney was carrying the team. Berbatov was just there, taking up space, moving in slow motion while everyone else sprinted. There was speculation he'd be sold. Ferguson shut it down, called him a player with a touch of genius, but the doubt lingered. Was Berbatov good enough for Manchester United? Could he handle the pressure? Then came September 2010, Liverpool at Old Trafford. United were 2-1 down at halftime, losing to their biggest rivals. The pressure was enormous. Berbatov stepped up. 3 goals in the second half. Hat-trick. United won 3-2. His second goal was an overhead kick that defied physics. Ball came in from the left. Berbatov jumped, twisted his body midair, and volleyed it into the top corner. Paul Reyna didn't move, just watched it fly past. The technique was absurd. The audacity was peak Berbatov. First player since 1946 to score a hat-trick for United against Liverpool. 64 years. No United player had done it in the modern era. Not Cantona, not Van Nistelrooy, not Rooney, Berbatov. Ferguson was vindicated. I think we are being rewarded this season for our confidence in a player who has a touch of genius about him, he said after the match. The genius comment became a rallying cry. Berbatov wasn't lazy. He was efficient. He was smart. He was different. But that was just the warm-up. 8 weeks later, Blackburn came to Old Trafford, November 27, 2010. Berbatov hadn't scored in 10 matches. Questions were being asked. Maybe Javier Hernandez should start instead. Maybe Berbatov's time was up. 2 minutes into the match, Wayne Rooney laid it off. Berbatov finished, calm, composed, 1-0. The 10-match drought was over. He didn't celebrate wildly, just a fist pump, back to business. 23 minutes in, Park Ji-sung made it 2. Rooney with another assist. United were cruising. Then Berbatov again. Blackburn tried to play out from the back. Wrong decision. Poor pass toward goalkeeper Paul Robinson. Berbatov read it instantly. Intercepted. 1 touch to control. 2nd touch to slot it past Robinson. 3-0. Still no wild celebration. Just calm acknowledgement, like he did this every week. Halftime. 3-0. United in complete control. Berbatov with 2 goals. But he wasn't done. Not even close. The 3rd goal was the one that showed everything he was about. 47th minute. He started the move in his own half, controlled the ball under pressure. Blackburn were pressing hard, trying to stop the bleeding. Berbatov didn't panic. He never panicked. Backheel to Patrice Evra. Perfect weight. Evra drove forward, passed it back to Berbatov in midfield. This is where it got special. The ball was rolling toward him. Most players would have taken a touch to control it. Not Berbatov. He let it roll past his body, didn't touch it, controlled it with positioning alone, with his eyes, with his brain. The ball kept rolling. He turned, now facing forward, Pass to Nani on the right wing. Nani crossed it back first time, and there was Berbatov, in the box, exactly where he needed to be. Swept it into the net. First time finish. 3 passes, 1 goal, started and finished by the same player. The sequence took about 30 seconds. He jogged through the entire thing, never sprinted, never rushed, just glided, like he was playing at a different speed to everyone else, like he could see the future and everyone else was playing catch-up. Nani scored to make it 5. Then Berbatov again. 62nd minute, loose ball in the box, tap in, 4 goals. Still barely celebrating, Christopher Samba scored for Blackburn to make it 6-1. Berbatov scored his 5th in the 70th minute, another tap-in. Final score, 7-1. Berbatov with 5, Nani with 1, Park with 1. Total destruction. I have scored that many before, but it was a long time ago back home in Bulgaria, he said after the match. The first goal was the most important. It gives you the confidence to play. As a striker, people do tend only to look at the goals you score. I am more concerned with how I play, but today was all about goals for me. That season, he won the Premier League Golden Boot, 20 goals, joint top scorer with Carlos Tevez. United won the league, 19th title. Berbatov had proved everyone wrong, but here's the thing people forget. It wasn't just goals. His assist for Cristiano Ronaldo against West Ham in 2008 became iconic. The Berbatov Spin. Received the ball with his back to goal, spun 360 degrees past 2 defenders without the ball touching the ground. Pass to Ronaldo, goal. A band called Broke Boy Fly wrote a song about that moment in 2024. The Berbatov Spin. I didn't know about this. Berbatov laughed when he heard. That's actually what I was just talking about, because the Berba Spin was an assist. It was so good and the moment was so right. Everything happened so perfectly that I can agree that a song is a good thing to have to describe it. Those types of movement and improvisations gave me so much joy. When I did the Berba Spin, I could hear people go, "Whoa!" That made my day even more. When I passed to Cristiano to score, it was complete. That was Berbatov. The goal was important, but the art was everything. The improvisation had to have an end result, but it also had to be beautiful. Functional brilliance. Every touch meant something. His defensive work went unnoticed. People saw the strolling and assumed he was lazy. But watch the full matches. He pressed when it mattered. He held the ball up under pressure from 3 defenders. He created space for teammates just by existing. Defenders had to watch him constantly because if they didn't, he'd disappear and pop up somewhere lethal. In the 2010-11 season, he scored 3 hat tricks. Only Ruud van Nistelrooy and Alan Shearer had done that in one Premier League season. He was named Bulgarian Footballer of the Year for the 7th time. Record, more than Hristo Stoichkov. But Sir Alex Ferguson left him out of the 2011 Champions League final squad against Barcelona at Wembley. The decision stunned everyone. Berbatov had been joint top scorer in the Premier League that season. 20 goals. Golden Boot winner alongside Carlos Tevez. He'd been the main striker, the man who'd carried United through difficult matches. But Ferguson picked a different lineup, wanted more pace, more pressing. Barcelona's tiki-taka required energy and movement. Berbatov's game was about control and patience, so he didn't even make the bench. United lost 3-1, Barcelona dominated, and Berbatov watched from the stands. He never forgave that. Years later, he'd admit it still hurt. To be the league's top scorer and not even be considered for the biggest match felt wrong. Ferguson had his tactical reasons, but the pain lingered. It changed their relationship. That summer, Robin van Persie arrived from Arsenal. Another striker, another signal. Berbatov wanted guarantees about playing time. Ferguson couldn't give them. The squad was stacked. Competition was fierce. In August 2012, Berbatov joined Fulham on a free transfer. 2 years at Craven Cottage, 15 goals in his first season, 10 in his second. At 32, 33 years old, he was still producing. Fulham fans loved him. He made everyone around him better. His touch was still perfect. His vision still elite. Monaco came next. League One. 1 season, 8 goals. Won Monaco Player of the Year for 2014. Then PAOK in Greece. 1 season, 5 goals in 25 matches at 34 years old. Then Kerala Blasters in India for 9 matches in 2017-18. A farewell tour. He retired in 2019 at 38. For Bulgaria, he scored 48 goals in 78 matches, all-time leading scorer alongside Hristo Bonev. Debuted at 18 in 1999, captained the team from 2006 to 2010. Euro 2004 was his only major tournament because Bulgaria kept failing to qualify. He retired from international football at 29 to focus on United. After his playing days ended, he stayed busy. Founded the Dimitar Berbatov Foundation in 2008. It supports talented Bulgarian children in arts, science, and sports. Gives annual awards called the Successful Children of Bulgaria. First and most valuable awards in the country for kids. UNESCO named him an ambassador in 2012. He organized charity matches. In 2017, brought Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Nemanja Vidic, and Patrice Evra to Sofia for a game between his foundation and Luis Figo's foundation. He learned English by watching The Godfather, likes to draw, and created the D9B art brand. Never smoked despite appearing on lists of famous smokers. His legacy isn't just the stats, it's the philosophy. Football should be played with improvisation and end results. Beauty with purpose. If you're going to be skillful, make it count. Otherwise, go to the circus. That quote defined him. He wanted entertainment, but he wanted winning more. When people talk about underrated players, Berbatov's name should come up more. He won 2 Premier Leagues with United, won a Golden Boot, scored the most iconic hat trick against Liverpool in 64 years. Scored 5 in one match when only 3 other players in Premier League history had done it. And he did it all while looking like he wasn't trying. That's the key. The apparent laziness was actually intelligence. Why sprint when you can walk and still arrive first? Why use 10 touches when 2 will do? Why run yourself into the ground when positioning and timing matter more? Modern football has moved away from players like Berbatov. Everything's about pressing now, about running, about covering every blade of grass. Managers want workhorses. They want players who sacrifice elegance for effort. Berbatov wouldn't fit in most modern systems, and that's football's loss. So why did Dimitar Berbatov not need to run? Because he understood something most players don't. Football isn't about how fast you move. It's about when you move, where you move, economy of motion, efficiency disguised as laziness. 5 goals against Blackburn. He walked through that match, jogged at best, never sprinted, but every movement was calculated. Every touch was intentional. He knew where the ball would be before it got there. He knew where defenders would commit before they moved. That's not laziness, that's mastery. The striker who didn't need to run but still scored 5 in a single Premier League match. Dimitar Berbatov played football like jazz. Improvisation within structure. Unpredictable but always on beat. Casual but never careless. And when it mattered most, on that November afternoon in 2010, he showed everyone exactly what happens when genius stops pretending to try hard. It scores 5 times and makes it look easy.